Identifying.
The king of cakes. Chopper for the win.
Hello, Chopper. I would like to make an official request for a cake. I would love to see you make a cake based on one of my most favourite series at the moment, Rick and Morty. Good luck. Don't know why I'm saying good luck, because I know you'll do an amazing job, but yeah.
Okay, Charlie, your official request has been filled. Here's Rick from Rick and Morty. What you're going to do is head over to the CakesByChoppA Facebook page, print off your template, which can be found in the photo albums, so just click the Photos tab when you're at Facebook. Cut out one of the face shapes, removing his ears because you literally just want the singular face, and you're going to cut that out 3 times. Then you level off your cakes and you can start filling. I've used a chocolate ganache today, which is just your cream and chocolate melted down. It's very easy to make. Check out the recipes on YouTube. Fill both layers and then place your 3rd layer on top. Then you're going to trim the top layer down. You're actually going to cut quite a bit of this off, and it's just to basically round out that face, but you don't want to keep it too domified. You want to round it off, but you also want enough surface area to put the face on. Using a little bit of the ganache melted down and then place that over the top, smoothing it out. I find the melted ganache goes onto a fresh cooked cake, and it's easier to crumb coat that than it is with the firmer ganache. Pop it in the fridge for a couple of minutes and then go over the top with a second coat with the more set firm ganache. Smooth it all out, then you're ready to start with your fondant. I've added just a drop of brown to this big lump of white, and as you can see, working it through, it gives you a very soft flesh tone. Roll it out to your desired thickness, and then you're going to place it over your rolling pin. Start from one edge of the cake and work to the other, making sure you've got enough to go down all the sides, because this is quite a high cake. Pushing it in at the sides, and then you're going to work that down, make sure it's all sealed off, and remove the excess. I like to leave a little bit of a border so I can trim that off and I don't cut into the cake, because when you're working with ganache, you only get one go at the fondant. It's not like buttercream, you can pull it off and just have another crack. This is a one-time show. Trim off the edges, make it look all nice and neat, and you can use some of the offcuts to buffer the fondant to get a nice smooth finish. Unfortunately, my cake was still very cold, so the fondant started to sweat a little bit, so I couldn't buffer it all out. Next step is roll out a long snake, and you're going to use your template to see the desired thickness and measure it out and trim the bits down that you need for his eye bags and his lips. Now this is a little bit tricky. I was going to do it a different way originally. I was going to put it underneath the original layer of fondant, but then I decided to put it on top. Well, let's be honest, I forgot to put it underneath, and I'd come up with this technique instead. I've put it on, and then where I wanted it to flatten out, I've just pushed it down with my finger and the sculpting tool, and then used a smaller bit of fondant to buff out that seam, and it sort of just fades in like it was meant to be there, but it also gives you those sharp lines of the shadow, so you don't have to paint any black food coloring on. Because with a lot of these cartoon cakes, I tend to draw in some black lines, and I'm just never really happy with it. So I tried to avoid using the black gel food dye with this character as much as possible. When placing on these facial features, it's very important to use the template from a bird's eye point of view. Just cut off where you need to measure and place it on top, but making sure it lines up, because you don't want to have the lips too high or too low, because then you won't have room for his other features. Roll out a little sausage for his nose and then place that on in the middle, tapering down the top edge. It doesn't matter about underneath because his nose sort of hooks down a little bit. Then you're ready for his eye. I rolled a big sized white ball and then gently cut it in half, smoothing that out so I get this little dome. But you may have to trim one of them because one of his eyes is a little bit bigger than the other. I guess it just goes with the crazy look. So I placed them on the template to just make sure they were the right size, and then pop them on his face. This cake is kind of fondant heavy, but it's one of those ones that you want the look of it, and the majority of the cake is just his head. So when you're serving, I'd just rip the eyes off and then serve it nicely. With your joins, you can use a dry brush and just smooth them out, and that gets rid of any little fingerprints or thumb marks that you may have put in it, because I seem to do that a lot, and I've found this little trick works wonders. For the middle of his mouth, I used a coppery brown insert, I guess you'd call it. Placed it in his lips and trimmed it off. Then used a little bit of pink for his tongue, which I wasn't very careful with how I measured the mouth. So I had to make a few slight adjustments. Pretty much this is a testament to sticking to your template so you get the right sizes. rolling out a little bit of yellow fondant. It's a very slight yellow for his teeth. And then I found the easiest technique was to pinch off little balls, place them on, and then use the paintbrush to shape them. Because making the teeth all separately, it was hard to get the sizing right because I went a little bit different off the template. So just use that tip of, get the right size and smash it down with the brush. For his eyebrow, I just rolled out a light blue snake, making sure it was rounded on the edges and put it across the top. The cake sweating actually helped this apply really easy. And with the rest of the blue, I actually used quite a bit of this because I wanted to do this head crown sort of piece for his hair. And as you can see, I've rolled it out and then used my thumbs to just keep everything smooth and lift it at the top so it creates this rainbow dome, I guess you'd call it. Then I placed my cake on the display board and pulled that fondant around the top of his head. It just all stuck together because, again, the cake was cold. Now, I used the sculpting tool to mark out where his hair would be before I cut it. And then I went through and just removed each piece to fit to the board. I would have liked his hair a little bigger, but this was the cake board I had. I went through and removed all the little pieces, then using this dry brush, smoothed out all the little joins and rounded off the edges so he didn't have sharp edges. Now, when I told my friend Matt that I was going to make this cake, he said, "Chopper, you need to add the drool." So I did. Thank you, Matt. I think it sets it off. Check out Matt's channel in the card above. Now you're going to place on some flesh-colored ears, which is just a little ball cut in half, placed on the side and pushed in. Make 2 little wells in his eyes and fill that with some black gel food dye. That helps it stop running down the sides because this is on an angle. And there you go. There is Rick from Rick and Morty. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought. Tell me cakes you want to see in the future. Thank you so much to PinkStylist, or Charlie. I love the request, man. Thank you so much. Please check out Charlie's channel. He's an incredibly talented makeup artist here on YouTube that does some crazy looks. And also, on the topic of talent, please check out my friend Luna. She's an amazing creator. I love her to bits. Both their channels are here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.